Welcome to Sherobeyour podcast, where we will discover that we can be our own heroes in our lives and that we don't have to always look outside for a mentor and for a hero in somebody else. I'm not saying that's a bad thing to do, but I'm saying that sometimes it might be better to realize that you can be your own hero in your life, because sometimes it's hard to find somebody else who can fulfill that role. And it's also can be very uplifting for you to realize, oh, I've been able to be a hero for myself by loving this unfortunate traumatic event that I went through, whether it was sexual abuse or losing a loved one or losing a friend or having a relationship end or losing your job, that you were able to rise above that incident and be able to strengthen you and to destroy you with it again. And, speaking from personal experience, I've definitely have had some of those experiences in my life. And I have chosen to let them strengthen me. And yes, there have been times where they've broken me down and made it harder for me to live because I've been depressed or I've been more anxious or nervous because of them. But ultimately, I didn't let myself as well in that state of being broken down for a very long time. I got myself back up by going to therapy and by surrounding myself with very supportive friends and family and those that were able to help me guide me through that journey. And so today's episode will be about the general view of personal things that I've gone through that I consider I've been a hero in my life. And then the next episode will be going into more detail of some of those events and breaking them down into how they have affected and changed my life, and how they have impacted me more today than how they impacted me when I first disclosed about them and when I was first healing from them. Healing was an ongoing process, it doesn't end, unfortunately. And I think that's actually definitely in disguise, because in order to heal and let go of something completely, you're going to be living in pain your entire life. And that's something that's really hard. Oh, and also I will want to interview others who have gone through similar experiences, like I mentioned in the beginning of this introduction. So please email me if you want to be interviewed, and you can go into your experience as much as you are comfortable with, and being able to share what you're comfortable with. Because I know sometimes things can be really personal and it can be hard to open about them. So I will leave my email in the podcast description for you if you are interested. So the last episode was about my personal experiences with being my own hero in my life at different points. One of them was with being sexually abused by my cousin for several years in my childhood. And I would like to break that one down because that was the first one that happened to me, where I felt like I was able to be my own hero because so first of all, I don't want to trigger anybody by talking about this, but I think it's important to break it down because, yes, it's an unfortunate event that I had to experience, but I came to realize over time that I was the only one that could stop it from continuing. And I didn't know what it was that he was doing to me other than what he told me. And I didn't know that it was wrong until I got older and was starting to trust my gut more and be like, this doesn't feel right. So I decided to disclose to my parents about it in 2008. So that was a while ago. And it's been a long road since then of letting go what happened and letting go of the beliefs that my extended family has about it being just show and tell, minimizing it to that, and believing that I had some fault to do with it, and believing that I should have known better. So, you know, it's hard for it was hard for me to accept that those beliefs and trying to come to terms with them and realize I can't change those thoughts or beliefs that those people have. But what I can do is I can not let them cloud what I believe in and what I choose to believe in. Excuse me. So what I tried to do was to realize, no, it wasn't my fault. It was early sexual abuse, and it was not show and tell. And I couldn't have known any better because of how old I was and because of what I didn't know about it. And I still remember the day before I told my mom that I'd asked my cousin what would happen if I told my parents about what we were doing. And he said we would both get in trouble. And I remember telling my mom the next day and realizing before I did that, he was the only one that was going to get in trouble. I didn't get in any trouble. And that was a powerful realization for me because even though he had power over me for a long time, that turned tables and turned around as soon as I told my parents I had power over him. And they did too. And I went into therapy later that year because my parents knew I needed it. I didn't think I did. But I came to realize soon that I did because of having nightmares about the event and incidents, and realizing that I had so many triggers every day that it was really hard to get through school. And I was trying to get through high school. And while I was in high school, I was writing my victim impact statement for a hearing to try to get some justice around that, around the abuse. And I did. I mean, he got probation, so he wasn't able to contact us. And that was because we took a plea so that it wouldn't go to trial, which is a good thing because trial can even be worse than a hearing in terms of traumatizing the victim and trying to figure out, if you're going to get any good result out of it. So anyways, I went through 5 years of therapy, 4 years in high school and 1 year in college. And actually, I restarted therapy during the pandemic as well. And high school was very hard for me because I was juggling school and I was letting go of the family that I thought I had. I thought my extended family was closer to me, like, another set of brothers and sisters with my cousins, and, feeling like my aunt and uncle were like a mom or a dad. But they weren't. not with what happened in the aftermath of what happened with the disclosure. And so I was doing some pretty deep radical acceptance of realizing, and I've done more of it recently also, in terms of my family is never going to be the same. And I'm never going to be able to see my younger cousins grow up or be a part of their lives. And that's hard to realize that it's true, but it is. And trying to figure out, it's been this way since 2008. So, almost 20 years. And about 15, I think. And so it's a long time, and trying to figure out, how to live with that big change in your life can be challenging. And being able to realize that, something that happened that ended 14 years ago, because you ended it, changed your life drastically in terms of what you thought you knew. Your trust was betrayed in your family, and but your trust in your immediate family was strengthened in terms of knowing that they have your back, and being able to realize that, and realize how much, even though you can go through so much struggle of, trying to let go of things and work through whatever feelings you're feeling, instead of shutting them down inside yourself and not feeling them like I did for many years during the trauma, and then just letting myself feel them afterwards, was a shock in itself, because I didn't know how intense my emotions could be until I let myself feel them. And one of the things I realized that I have, and I'm still working with, is body insecurity because of the trauma. I often feel like if I'm a little chubby, guys won't notice me as much or like me as much, and therefore I won't get hurt again. But I've realized this year that that's not true. I can protect myself in other ways, and I have done that by, protecting myself from the con artist resurfacing. He changed his name on his profile on Facebook, and came up on my notification list again. And I knew it was him because I could recognize his picture and his profile. So I blocked him again, because I knew he was trying to win again, and I wasn't going to let him. So that was one way that I protected myself. Another way is to stand up for what I believe in and not let anybody else change my beliefs. And my ex, who, that was a very toxic relationship. I'll talk about that later in the podcast. But he resurfaced in terms of trying to follow me on Instagram and liking me on the dating app that we met. And I didn't do anything. I just blocked him on Instagram and hid his profile on the dating app. But what I did do is, because part of me wanted to send him a message of how much he turned my life upside down, and how much work I've had to do to get it better and back and improve it. So I wrote a message of what I would send to him, but I didn't send it. And that, I've done that before, for not just for my ex, but for the con artist and for my cousin, because that is very, very therapeutic in terms of, okay, if you're in a revenge state, that's okay to be in, but realize that that's not going to do anything for you it's actually probably going to make it worse, because you're going to probably get hurt more by sending it, a letter or a message, whatever, to that person who hurt you and who caused hurt to others that you love, and who made you believe in things that you shouldn't have, or do things that you shouldn't have, that you regret. So anyways, when you're in that revenge state, try writing down your feelings and what you would say to that person, but don't send it, because it's not going to help you to do that. It's probably going to make it worse. And, do that, because then you can get it out of your system, and you can feel better about it, about yourself, and realize that you don't need to send it, because you don't need to be revengeful. You just need to get it out of your system. And you can do as many times as you want to. You can rip it up. You can burn it afterwards, whatever you want. Something I also do when I'm running, I imagine the face of the person that I'm mad at, and I imagine punching that face. It actually is very therapeutic as well. So just little things like that I've done to help me realize what I can do to work through those things. And like I said with emotions earlier, let yourself cry, let yourself be angry, whether you need to throw rocks or just cry because you need to and you don't know why. That's okay. It's okay to do that. And being able to do that can make yourself feel better, and be able to work through those feelings. And I remember there were many times in college when I was running and I would start crying because I was either homesick or I was still working through stuff with the trauma. And I felt so alone because I didn't have many friends in college that knew about what I was going through other than my brother. And it was hard because I was away from home. I was up in NorCal and my parents were in SoCal. And just going through that was challenging, but I was able to get through it because I had my brother, and because I had therapy, and because I had coping skills I learned from therapy, and because eventually I had friends that knew about what I was going through and they were able to help me as well. So being able to let that incident strengthen me and make me who I am today was definitely one of the best things I've done for myself in terms of being my own hero and trying to be a hero for others as well, in terms of inspiring them to do the same thing. And to realize that they might have already done it. Sometimes you're so caught up in doing and letting go and feeling your emotions that you don't realize the impact you've had on your life until you step back and you've let go of it enough to live an easier life, and be able to be like, whoa, wait a second. I did improve my life, and I did make it be better and make it easier to live in. Of course, there might be some things that resurface or trigger you about what happened, but you are able to handle those better because of the work that you did initially on yourself and to work through that trauma. So, yeah, I hope that you are able to get something out of what I talked about today, and try doing that letter practice, or that imagining somebody that you're angry with practice that I did, and the practice of feeling your emotions as well. Try one of those three and see what it does for you. You might be surprised at the outcome. I hope you were able to get some insight and some lessons and messages out of this first episode of Sherobeyour. And I hope that you will be able to use it to help you guide yourself through whatever you might be going through, whether it's challenging for you or maybe you know somebody else who's going through something that's challenging for them, and be able to help them be there or help yourself be there. I look forward to chatting with you next Saturday again about how you can be your own hero.